What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? Some girl brought cupcakes made with cum, called them cum cakes. Proceeded to ask everyone in class if they wanted one. High school coach didn't keep tabs on our team during a week-long beach trip to play games in Florida. Parents supplied kids with alcohol. One of my teammates snaps his neck diving into the ocean. Coach fired. Kid paralyzed. Literal chaos within our baseball program ensued. It was awful. I transferred. Let's see, where should I start? Freshman year, 2 rapes in bathrooms, 1 fatal stabbing. Sophomore year, shooting in the courtyard, half pound of coke found in student's locker. Junior year, drama teacher, F, caught sleeping with 3 students. Senior year, gym teacher / driver's ed teacher, M, impregnates freshman girl. Then it is discovered he has not had a valid driver's license for 6 years, invalidating the driver's ed class for everyone that took it during that time period. Spanish teacher got arrested for illegally bringing over a 14-year-old Argentinian girl and keeping her as a sex toy. But since she was here illegally and wouldn't testify against him, she was deported, and he came back to school later in the year. Come to find out a couple of years later he had molested like half of the girls' volleyball team he was the coach of. There were 4 freshmen in the bathroom stall just vaping, and a teacher came in, so they freaked out and didn't want to get in trouble, so they thought calling the cops on the teacher for harassment would get them out of trouble. They got expelled an hour after the cops arrived. This was middle school, but our computer teacher was fired after they caught him watching porn in the computer lab during lunch. Rumor has it, he was watching on the big projector screen they use for teaching. The cool gang of kids, not me, I've never been anywhere near cool, got into a dare contest which ended up with one of them having to get a pair of knickers from a particular girl. She didn't want to play the game, so he ended up cornering her in a boys' toilet and cutting them off her with a knife. We never saw him at the school again. All games were banned. A teacher was caught having sex with an autistic student. I believe the student claimed to have loved her. Her dad was also a teacher at the same school, and he left after the incident came out. Edit. Teacher was female, student was male. Little bit of backstory first. Our school had a big renovation ongoing, and because of that, almost half of the school was closed down. The closed part included the biggest bathrooms, and because of that, the school administration ordered 2 toilet barracks to be placed on the schoolyard. So, some 7 9th graders decided to buy some toilet pipe opener liquid, I don't know what is the correct term, and aluminium foil. They put the aluminium foil inside some plastic bottles and poured a little pipe opener in them with the foil. As someone has probably done this before, knows what is going to happen next. They stuck 6 bottles total inside the toilet bowls in every stall of one barrack and blew them up due to the chemical reaction between the foil and the opener. All the pipings of the single barrack were destroyed due to water pressure inside the pipes. Turns out that the 2 barracks had connected pipings, and the water that was in the bowls in the other barrack shot up to the ceiling due to pressure. The students never got caught, and if I remember correctly, the incident ended up costing a hefty amount for the school administration. The barracks were taken away and were replaced with new ones. After the incident, every recess there was a teacher in front on the barracks monitoring everyone going in and out. Nothing happened to the new toilets. Pre-internet days, kinda, CDs were a thing. I had a massive CD collection in a gigantic book in my locker. I typed up lists of all the artists and albums I owned. So I had these flyers everywhere, and for $3 a CD I'd burn you a copy. This was right when CD burners came out, and my stepdad was super into the latest and greatest tech, so we had the cool gadgets when they came out. I eventually was caught, but for a time I made killer money. A special ed kid got jumped by a dude on his way to school and was beaten bloody. The whole thing was recorded by the guy's girlfriend and her friend. The whole time they were cheering him on, yelling things like "World Star" and so on. She later posted it on Instagram, which pissed off everyone, and just about everyone wanted to beat the dude up in the vid. He was given temporary suspension, freaking BS, while the police took care of him. From what I know, he was given a assault charge. Also, side note, there was a girl at my school who was in minor league boxing who was ready to beat him up. She even tried looking for him by his house. Edit. For those of you arguing, if the boxer world won the fight, can confirm, she was a hell of a lot bigger than the guy. In comparison, he was a pretty skinny dude. Our football coach took off with one of the girls in the high school and moved to Mexico and married her. He had a wife and kids. They then hired a brand new football coach who was 23 years old. Before the end of his first year, he was hooking up with an 18-year-old senior girl. They also took off and went somewhere. We went without a coach for a couple years. I had a male teacher in high school who had a lot of chemistry with this one girl in my class. They never did anything inappropriate, but like they had great banter and got along great. We'd all joke that she had a crush on him and that they were going to get together. We even joked that they were already secretly hooking up, but we didn't really think they were. They were married 5 years later and have 2 kids and couldn't be happier. It made all of us wonder if something was going down while she was in high school. They both swear nothing happened until she randomly bumped into him at the supermarket when she was visiting home for the holidays. Parents were outraged when they found out. The school couldn't fire him because there was no proof. Eventually they got tired of the awkward stares and moved away. They've been married like 8 years now, and from what I can see in social media are still going strong. Child pornography filming. 2 underage seniors from my graduating class filmed a full-on porno with some 20-year-old dude. Circulated to like 30 kids in the class, and was a huge scandal for the school for a while. One of them was expelled, while the other was just given a suspension cause she otherwise had a clean record, and was on one of the sports teams. Not sure if they ever found the dude. Had a pretty controversial case involving a handicapped student who had cerebral palsy and muscular dystrophy. His parents filed a lawsuit accusing 2 of his handlers of abusing him by dumping him out of his chair and forcing him to wear a neck brace so he'd look them in the eye. Worst part was I don't think the handlers suffered any consequences. I looked up articles on it and all of them highlight the abuse and lawsuit, but none follow through with the results, which is frustrating. Had a guy selling heroin. After that there was a weekly police presence. Also, a kid bound a girl to a chair, gagged her and stuffed her in a cupboard in the woodworking shop. He claims it was to help her complete the sponsored silence she had been doing that day. Female freshmen would hang out in a teacher's classroom almost every day after school. People thought he was just a club sponsor and that she was very involved. A few weeks into the semester they were caught by police in an Airbnb and he was arrested. I interviewed to teach at a high school once. One of the questions from the school board was, can you avoid sleeping with your students? Me, yes I can. School board thinks I'm great. Principal thinks I'm great. Superintendent of schools doesn't think I'm cut out for the job, gives me the runaround. Principal is trying to help me push through it and get hired, but I finally give up and get a normal job elsewhere. Superintendent hires his nephew, wonder why he gave me the runaround, who promptly has sex with a student and gets fired. I still see the principal occasionally, he always apologizes, I wanted to hire you. He's way too nice to have been stuck at that lousy school. Basketball coach was fucking players' parents. When faculty and authorities started looking into the situation they found that he was also posting in the classified ads as a prostitute. Edit. Also forgot to mention the coach that replaced him was living in one of the basketball team locker rooms for a while. That whole situation didn't make much sense to me. Another edit. A lot of people are asking why it is illegal to fuck a parent. I don't think it is, but the faculty started looking into it after complaints of favoritism towards the children of these parents. Basically, I freak your mom, you start varsity, and then the prostitution was found quite easily. It was a small town. My history teacher had sex with a 15-year-old girl, but she didn't admit it for at least a decade. He was a good teacher, and I liked his class, but he's gonna rot in jail for the rest of his life. The middle school gym teacher who inappropriately touched lots of preteen girls, who promptly told on him, got the teensiest slap on the wrist, and that was that. 2 students planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers by waiting by the top of the stairs between periods, and when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind, while the other put his leg out to trip him. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. The kids' reasoning, because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class. Both of them were 15 years old, so they didn't get jail time. They both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range.